Welcome back to part two of Why Blank Lost's Survivor 50 preseason coverage. I'm David Bloomberg, and of course, joining me is my co host, Jessica Lewis, who is definitely listed in Mike Bloom's friend column for me.
Oh, I made the friend column in Mike Bloom's list. I like this. It's good. It's good to
You
be a
are not
friend
a
and not a foe.
foe. You're not a
It's
foe.
good.
You're not a 50-50. I might
A
even go so far.
frenemy.
Right. I'm going to go so far as to say best friend.
Best friend.
Best
Well,
friend.
now that would be incredible. I don't know if Mike Bloom would really equate me as a best friend, but I'll take friend. I'll take not foe. I'll take.
No, I get to choose who goes in there. He just writes it down.
Oh, I understand. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Well, listen, if you and I have to talk about each other in any type of podcast ever, that'll be interesting as well. Like if we had to equate
Mm,
each other, because we wouldn't
mm.
want people to think we like each other. However, they're going to know that we do. So,
Well, we could just pretend, like some of these people, it's
oh, it's
like,
going to be
no,
so bad.
I don't
Yeah.
really know them. I mean, okay, to be fair, on the traders this season, you have Johnny and Tara, who have literally been broadcasting the Olympics and other skating together
Oh,
for 10
yeah.
years and pretending they barely know each other. And
That's
most
a little
Most
insane,
people fell for it. Not all of them, but most people fell for it.
but people have.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
So, yeah, if
Well,
we went
I don't know.
or
I
if we
guess.
ended up, like, on a tribe full of absolute newbies who don't watch podcasts at all, then I guess we could pull it off.
Yeah, I don't think we would. I think it would be very, very apparent very quickly that
Jessica who? I don't know what you're talking about. Speaking of Jessica who, it was pointed out to me, I don't know how we missed this, but so we talked about Jenna Lewis last time,
yes,
and she's the same age as you.
I know
Jessica
she
Lewis.
is. I know.
Are we sure you're not the same person? Are we sure you're not just pretending?
Listen, if I was really on Borneo, everyone would know.
Yeah.
I would be screaming that from the rooftops. Yes, I think I might have actually hinted towards that in the last podcast
Oh,
because
okay.
I thought that she was older, but then I realized she was the same age as I was, and I thought to myself, "My God, I could have been on Borneo. Like I
Yes,
could
you
have been
said
on
that.
Borneo."
Yes.
Yes, I did.
You
So
just
this
said
is how my brain was processing all
yes.
of that information because yeah. And I do remember like watching that season very distinctly, loved every second of it, but I always felt like I was younger, but I guess I wasn't. I like
I mean, you
I was
were. I mean, you
well,
would
I
have
was
been.
younger, but I
Yeah.
in my head, was I 19? But no, I wasn't 19, but I'm
I think
telling myself I was
20, 21, right around that age,
21, maybe
probably.
21, right around
Yeah.
there. So,
Yeah. So,
but yes, so I am Jessica, aka Jenna Lewis. We could just pretend. We could pretend that I'm Jenna Lewis.
yes.
I'm that much more important than I actually am.
All right. Well, that was last podcast. This one, we will be going over the players on the Vatu tribe and then pulling everything together for our
Mhm.
final predictions. Now, hopefully, as you're watching this, you've listened to or watched part one where we discussed the Sela and Kalo tribes. And, if not, well, you can go ahead and do that now, or
Mhm.
you could do that after this. Although
Yeah.
I'd suggest you do it now because we're going to be referencing back to them a bit at the end. But hey, I'm not picky. You do you. Whatever.
Yeah, go out of order. It's okay.
Yeah.
Listen, I am giving you permission to go out of order. David Bloomberg probably would not, but
I
I
am
will.
in this case. Like I said, do whatever you want.
You're accepting. I love that.
Yes. Now, as a very quick reminder, we are condensing down all our preseason interviews or all the preseason interviews that we have seen so we can give you our thoughts on what the Survivor 50 returning players had to say and how it will pan out this season. And then, of course, starting next week after episode one, which is really going to be 3 hours, so that's two episodes
Mhm.
there, we'll begin by discussing what the presumably two players who will be voted out did right and wrong in terms of rules I originally wrote back after the very first Survivor season and have been updating ever since.
That I was on.
Yes, right. I don't know if you want to claim that particular game. I mean, but
No, but we're gonna just start that rumor that I was on Borneo.
so, but now, for right now, we could just jump right into the Vatu tribe since we did all that other preliminary stuff last time.
Yes, we did. Let's
So,
talk about the Vatu tribe, which I
okay.
did hint last time. The name Vatu,
Yes.
it's a little painful. Does mean stone or rock. So Vatu is not starting in a great place for Jessica.
So you're saying you wouldn't pick them?
I see what you did there. No, no more rocks for Jessica. So yes, thought that was very interesting that that's what that meant. Yes, I would not pick them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, we're going to begin with Angelina. Now, Angelina is 35 now. And I love that she is coming in with a sense of humor. As she almost immediately said in the official CBS interview, I didn't mention it much on David versus Goliath, but I got rice for the whole tribe.
Yes.
Um,
And the
yes,
jacket was on repeat as well from
yes,
everyone, not just Angelina, but
well,
everyone who was
yes,
talking about her as well. Yes.
yes, she's coming in with one, so she won't have to beg for
Mm-hmm.
anyone else's. She
Mm-hmm.
did have to negotiate with Survivor wardrobe people for it, but of course, she got it.
Of course she did.
Yeah, but it's more difficult to negotiate relationships with other people. Angelina believes she'll be able to do it, telling Mike Bloom she can get along with anyone, but she also knows she has big character energy and people will underestimate her. The problem I worry about is not so much underestimating her, but misestimating her and expecting her to be like she was in David versus Goliath, only amped up instead of tamped down like she plans.
Interesting. So you think other people will have a misperception
Yes.
of that? That's interesting. I have concerns about Angelina, but I have concerns based upon people's current idea of what they think about Angelina
Mm-hmm.
from her previous game, and that she is a lot. She appears to be a
Mm-hmm.
lot in Ponderosa as well. And I don't know if she is necessarily going to be able to put that perception aside, even if she does tamp it down. And so I think that unfortunately for Angelina, someone who had such a strong edit that was really based very much on her strength as a person, right? She was willing to
Mm-hmm.
stand up and negotiate for rice, and she was willing to say things to other people that might have been a little bit more harsh or forward. She really was like, speak first, ask questions later, which I can give her so much credit for. But I think the other Survivor players might be like, yeah, I'm not sure if that's what I want to necessarily tie myself to. Even Mike White was like, listen, if she tanks her game, I'm going to let her go down without me. Like I'm not going to tie myself
Yeah.
to her. So even Mike White is aware of the possibility that she might just come in a little bit too much, or people might be expecting her to. And that's unfortunately a concern. That is a real concern.
Yeah, and we can see this in the fact that 3 of her starting tribe members come in considering her a foe, 1 more a frenemy, and 1 50-50.
Yeah.
Those are not good starting odds. And
No,
then
not at all.
meanwhile, she is already against Colby and Stephanie because she's heard they talked about her being too chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
And she loves Q and his chaos, but he did not return the favor. Indeed, she only had 2 people besides him on her friend list: Aubrey, as someone she really wants to work with, and Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
This is not setting her up to do well at the start, and I'm actually quite worried about her. I'm more
I
worried
am.
about her after going through everything than I was beforehand.
Yes, and I agree with that wholeheartedly, because I've always respected the way that she has presented herself,
Mm-hmm.
but I do think that with this type of cast, you have so many strong personalities. You have so many people who have this big energy about themselves and these complexes, and they, some of them want to kind of cement themselves right into the person that they have been perceived as in their previous season. And someone like her has the same type of big energy and big character, but it might be something that everyone has seen as not necessarily a positive for Angelina. And I think that's why so many people, just even like online during her initial Survivor debut, were kind of torn with, how do you feel about Angela? It was like, do you love her or do you not? Because she is someone who has a very strong personality. So I fear for her as well, because I do think everyone on her tribe seemed a little concerned about Angelina.
Yeah, yeah. Now, in part one, we talked a lot about narratives and threats. Most of the narrative discussion stemmed from her original, fellow David versus Goliath players. What's
Mm,
interesting is that for Angelina, the narrative at the time was she was not a threat, and people could take her to the end without fear of her winning, which is, of course, what
mhm,
happened. Uh,
mhm.
but it really doesn't seem like that is still now in the players' minds. They
Right.
seem to be more worried about her now than anyone was on her original season. It's weird how that
Mhm.
has changed over time and not being there with her. And
Yeah.
yeah, and speaking of narratives, it's certainly not going to help her that the two guys who I mentioned were at the forefront of our discussion about them in part one are also, she's known to be friends with them. And I think that will
Mhm.
add another layer of worry, because if you're on her starting tribe, do you want to make an alliance with Angelina now and then at the swap or merge have her connect with Mike or Christian and throw you aside? Do you want to
Yeah,
risk that?
absolutely not. No, I don't, and I don't think anyone on her tribe is going to be willing to do that, which is why those groups of 3 become that much more scary, because where are they, and where are they going to come together? When are they going to come together?
Hmm.
So, yeah, I think that there's a lot of hurdles for Angelina to get over, in addition to herself and the potential that she could come in a little bit too strong. Now you also do have these other 2 players, which, weirdly enough, they are 2 players that most people seem to be excited about the possibility of playing with,
Hmm.
except maybe, Mike White, where they're like, oh, there's that whole White Lotus thing, right? But the gameplay itself, like Christian and Mike, I think everyone is very kind of comfortable with the way that they played the game and interested in potentially playing with them. And so it is such an opposite feeling that you get when they talk about Angelina and her gameplay, but those 3 are definitely associated and close.
Yeah. So, so that's all I have on Angelina. I don't know about if you have anything else.
No, I think we're good.
Okay. Um, so we can move on to Aubrey, and the funniest thing to me that production did to start this season is putting Aubrey and Q on the same tribe.
Oh my gosh.
Um,
They totally did this on purpose, for
oh yeah,
sure. Yeah.
they knew we
Mhm.
wanted to see it, and the way that those two handle it will be interesting and hopefully fun to watch. I'm sure Q will immediately fake apologize and Aubrey will fake accept it. But
Mhm.
what happens after that?
Yeah.
Aubrey called him a big red flag, but also knows or believes they have a lot in common as they're both pretty new parents. She said she kind of wants to just let him blow himself up. But the problem that I see is I think it'll likely take a little while for him to do that. And who knows what collateral damage you may suffer along the way.
Yes, I think that I hate that someone's game has to be so closely associated to someone else's game. And that's what we're ultimately going to be expecting here, right?
Hmm.
Because there is this weird Aubrey Q connection just from one random decision he made
Yes.
on his season. It's not like they've worked together. It's not like they've been friends. It's literally, he was like, yeah, I voted that person out because she reminded me of Aubrey, and that's where this all stems from. So it's going to be fascinating when they are actually in the same space, and how he will feel about her actually meeting her, or is he still going to have this same distaste in his mouth for Aubrey? It'll be very fascinating. Very
I,
fascinating.
I hope that when she votes him out, she writes for Mariah
Yes.
on the vote.
That would
Um,
be incredible.
yeah. Now, aside from Q, one interesting overall question is how she'll be perceived. I mentioned in part one that she was in the situation previously that Charlie is in now, widely believed to have been the player who should have won their season but didn't. So they didn't get the benefit of winning, but they got the downside of being seen as a big threat, like on her first
Mhm.
season and Charlie now. However, since then, Aubrey played two more times, and last time wasn't great.
Right. And I think that that's probably going to help her a lot because the memories that people have of Aubrey, yes, call wrong was a thing and it
Mm-hmm.
happened and we all lived through it and we know it. But it was something that was talked about by many players that I'm surprised to see Aubrey here,
Mm-hmm.
considering she didn't do that great the last time she played, and the time before that wasn't that great either. So they might think she's lost her ability to really bring the co-wrong Aubrey back. I
Mm-hmm.
hope she brings the co-wrong Aubrey back because that was a fantastic gameplay and she really found a good balance. The other seasons that she played, I mean, one of which was a returning,
Mm-hmm.
season. I mean, so she had what was 4 returnees on one season, and the rest
Yeah,
of them
an
was all
edge.
returnees.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's part of the issue that she had was that there wasn't this newness because it wasn't a whole bunch of new survivors all kind of figuring out how
Mm-hmm.
to play the game. So I'm hoping that that's not what the problem is with Aubrey, that she's unable to bring back the newness that she had the first time she played because she is playing with people that have played multiple times,
Right.
including herself. So I'm not sure. I'm hoping that she's managing to get back there, but I don't know. It's a tough call. It's definitely a tough call.
It is. It is. She told Mike Bloom she's going back to her basics this season and making one-on-one connections, and she's going to try to be more flexible and roll with the punches. I mean, I thought she was pretty flexible on Edge of Extinction as she danced with Ron, despite telling us how much she hated it. But
So uncomfortable.
yeah, it looks like Aubrey wants to get in with some of the old schoolers like Colby and Stephanie.
Mm,
And I'll talk about that more as we go along here. She didn't label anyone specifically as a foe, but she had concerns about several. I think she'll be fine for at least a while and could
mhm.
could be for a good long while. I don't think she has that threat label on her the way some other people do.
Right. I would agree. And just looking at the group that she is with, you do have Stephanie and Colby on her tribe to start. So if that's
Mm-hmm.
what she leans more heavily towards, and then you do have someone like Kyle, who we've talked about, the winners are definitely
Right.
being seen as the biggest threats going into the game. So I think she's got some cover for some time, and also Angelina, because we just talked about
Yes.
Angelina and the concerns we have there. So she's probably going to be comfortable in that space for a bit.
Yes. Okay, then we can move on to Colby. Now, Colby is 51. And him coming into this game at all is a surprise for me. Maybe not as much
Mm,
of a surprise as Ozzy or Coach, but a lot of people felt like he was still very disconnected from Survivor.
mm,
And, if he came in, it would be not knowing who anyone is. I mean, heck, Rizzo, as a Survivor super fan, held these same views and said as much in his interviews.
right.
But Colby has gotten back into Survivor. He's been watching New Era seasons and says he's embraced it.
Yeah, but I will say my favorite response that he provided was when he was asked about Survivor fans having the opportunity
Oh,
to
yes.
help shape the game. And what are you hoping makes the cut and why? And his answer, I don't know what is on the list.
But he talked about that. He didn't really want to know that part. He was watching the game, not the fan votes.
I
And
just but
yeah,
it brought me back
yes,
to the last time he played where he didn't know who people
right,
were and he didn't know what things meant. It's like there's the Colby that we're
yeah,
all like ready to see. But yes, he does appear to have done his homework and he did know some information and apparently he's been talking about Angelina. So he's inserted himself back into the Survivor world and also pre-gaming, it sounds just a little.
yes,
So that will be interesting to see how Angelina and he jive, considering she is not pleased with Colby right now.
yes. Now, before I get to my thoughts on Angelina, I do want to mention, other things have changed about him. He showed he was no challenge threat previously. Now that he's
Mm,
older,
yep.
though, honestly, he looks like he's probably in better shape now than he might have been in last time he was on.
Well, everyone
Um,
was talking about how he must have been frozen. Like
yeah,
he like
yes.
just woke up from being frozen
Well,
because
like
he's
Jeff,
he
they share a cryo chamber. Um,
yes.
you know, and but still, I don't think people are going to worry about him as a challenge person the same way they will about a Jonathan or a Joe. And
Mm-hmm.
he's planning to play differently overall. He's going to appear predictable and loyal and straightforward, but hopes to use that to his advantage. And as I said with Ozzy and Coach, I'm looking forward to seeing if he can pull this off.
Mm. I am too because I've always enjoyed Colby because there is this kind of just simpleness to him. He's very straightforward, and I don't say simple in a bad way. Like
I know, but it
he
sounded.
I know it sounds bad, but he doesn't play Survivor complicated. He plays it
Mhm.
from his heart, and he plays it from how he feels. And I think that there's something that's really kind of sweet and endearing about that. But then also, it's not cutthroat Survivor that so many people are playing now. And I'm wondering if he's going to be able to fit
I mean,
into this new era kind of play
it wasn't
from that
cutthroat.
perspective.
It wasn't cutthroat Survivor in his first season. I mean, I remember blasting him for his final choice of taking Tina to
Well,
the
but
end.
that's what I'm saying. He played from his heart and he didn't play from a place of like I want to win.
Right.
He played from a place of like I want to do what's right. And
Yeah.
I feel like some of his responses that was seeping back in. Like I think he even said he's like, I don't really care if I win the money or not. I'm pretty sure that's he was one of the ones that talked about that. But it is concerning that if he slips back into that Colby that we all know and love, that he might not be able to find his footing, but he might also be able to utilize people like Rizzo, right? If he's like, hey,
Hmm.
Rizzo, listen, I need help here because this is not the game I played. And Rizzo, being a super fan, is probably going to be very aware of the concerns that Kobe might be bringing to the table. And yeah, I can help you out. Play with me, and I'll get you through this. I'll show you the ways, and then we can play this game together. So it might work out really well for him if he leans into it just a little bit with the right people.
Yeah, I don't know about Rizzo. I think he's aiming for the old schoolers at least to start. Um, I like his outlook on the three who've won, even though that could bite Kyle. He told Mike Bloom, "I don't subscribe that you take winners along with you because they're shields and the jury won't vote for them to win a second time. I don't buy it. I was one that voted Sandra to win her second time, and you
Hmm.
could not have convinced me on day one of Heroes versus Villains that I would have voted for Sandra. I don't believe that you take a guy like Kyle along with you to the end because you don't think he can win again. That dude is a huge threat to win this game." And yeah, I agree. I think most of the others in this game will also. I think the
Hmm.
idea that people won't vote for a winner to win again has mostly dissipated from the Survivor universe. I don't think that's a thing anymore. But
Mm.
interesting, yeah, I don't think that I don't think there are many people out there saying, "Oh, go to the end with a Survivor winner; they'll never win again." Um,
Well, they might not be saying that, but I feel like there's a different message. It's you had your chance, you won your money, you don't get to sit there again. I
well,
think
you don't
it's
get to
more of
sit
an
there, but
idea. Right.
he's saying take them to the end,
Yeah.
and they won't win. And he's like, no, that is not happening. And
Mhm.
but the thing is, as much as he said he doesn't want Kyle to get to the end, he would have picked him if the tribes were chosen via a schoolyard pick. Now we
Yes.
obviously know they aren't going to be, but it's just some insight into how Colby is thinking about the early game, and it could help Kyle survive a little while, as opposed to the winners on the other two tribes where we pretty much predicted their toast right away.
Mhm. Yeah.
Uh, now, as for his tribe mates, you mentioned his pre-gaming. Now, he claims he hasn't spoken to Stephanie in 16 years and yet knows they'll get together. And also, Angelina heard that they were already planning it. This is
Interesting.
I wonder if it's like haven't spoken to Stephanie. Okay, so you texted her, you DM'd her. It's a, are we going on technicalities here? I don't know,
I
but
don't know either, but
yeah,
clearly something happened
yeah,
for
because
sure.
he's definitely confirmed that he's gunning for Angelina, telling Mike Bloom, "Don't trust her at all. Got to get rid of her early." So
Mhm,
yeah, those two are going to be butting heads in the early goings.
mhm.
And, he also likes Aubrey's energy in the pregame. So that goes along with what we just said about Aubrey.
Right.
And he also wants to work with Genevieve, but definitely does not like what he's gotten from Q, calling him chaotic and saying he pregamed way too hard. And he thinks Q has a huge target on it, which, again, how do you know how hard someone pregamed unless you pregamed?
Right. There has to be some involvement there to know what's
Hmm.
going on there. But this is why I say Colby is just Colby. He's just, he doesn't understand what pre-gaming necessarily
Oh,
includes.
he understands. I think he 100% understands. I think he's trying to put forward an act like, oh no, not me, just little innocent old me. But no,
Just
no.
little Colby.
Yes,
Didn't do
yes.
anything. Well, I'm
So
excited though to have Colby. I mean,
yeah.
even though I really appreciate the fact that he said Jerry should be here and that he would love for Jerry to be
Hmm.
here. I agree wholeheartedly, and thank you, Colby, for agreeing with all of us that
Yeah.
Jerry should be on the season. So we'll miss
Okay.
Jerry.
We can move on to Genevieve. She is 34 now. Not much change in her age since the last time. Uh,
Mm,
She struggled with Rule 4 in her first time playing, going back and forth between letting emotions guide her to stating outright that she would not be friendly with anyone because of the emotional issue of voting them out, and then eventually realizing that it's possible to do both while just fighting herself along the way.
mm.
But now she's been through it all and is ready to deal with it. As she told Mike Bloom, one, I want to connect more with people. And two, yes, it does not feel good to get voted out. But I would rather you get voted out than me get voted out. And I don't feel bad about that fact.
I am so curious about how Genevieve is going to be this season because she was so incredible. She was like the
Mm-hmm.
slow build in 47 and very impressive gameplay. But someone described her as almost like a Russian spy. That's kind of like the vibes they're getting from her. And I'm like, yes, I can totally see that from her performance in 47. So I am very curious to see what she's going to bring into this game because there's Chrissy and I can't remember the other person as I'm sitting here, is coming in without anyone from
Jonathan.
her. She's Jonathan, right? Hasn't played with anyone else. And so she is really kind of on an island. That could benefit her for sure. But when you do have so many people who are pausing just a bit because she's a little scary, but that doesn't mean they don't want to work with her, but they are definitely afraid of her. And so I'm fascinated to see how Genevieve will be perceived and how she will play because she was so interesting throughout 47 with the change that she made with her game and
Mm-hmm.
how incredible she ended up playing towards the end. So yeah, I love Genevieve. I'm very, very, very excited about Genevieve.
Yeah. I mean, she knows she will probably be seen the way she was in the first season, that people are going to
Mm-hmm.
expect the standoffish and calculated version of her. And she hopes to
Mm-hmm.
show people there's more to her by, as she said, letting her goofy or vulnerable sides out to connect with them. Plus, she wants to put herself out there as a useful ally, much like you said.
Mm-hmm.
But she also knows if you're not connected to anyone else at all, and when I say not connected, she's like barely or not on social media.
I
Like,
know, and she talked about that too. Yeah.
right.
Mm-hmm.
So if you vote her out, there's not going to be anyone on another tribe pissed off and, gunning for you because of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
she, as she told Mike Bloom, she's a pretty low risk name to throw out at the beginning of the game. And that's when she thinks she'll be most vulnerable. Now, personally, I think she's in a good tribe for this because there are other players in this tribe who will have people actively looking to boot them.
Yes.
and needing votes to help. So I do think it will tend towards her being sought after as a vote
Mhm.
rather than
Mhm.
targeted for the vote.
Yes, I agree with that sentiment as well. I think there is enough people that she can hide behind for a bit, because there are some people that are very much being looked at and already talked about and focused on. So yes.
Yeah. So she sees everyone on the tribe as a friend except Colby, but Colby saw her as a possible friend. So I think it'll be just fine at the start if she jumps on board with a plan against one of the other more likely targets. As long as
Mhm.
she's not trying to wrangle people or push her own thing, which I don't think she'll do at the start, as long as she lets things happen and sees what's going on, I think she can jump on board and get rid of someone else.
I agree. And I have to just go on a little bit of a tangent here for a minute because I'm sitting here looking at her interviews. And she mentioned Keyshawn
Hmm.
from her season in her pregame press. And I'm not sure if anyone out there has seen the movie Send Help. And
I
this is
have
not a
not, but
plug.
I know what you're going to refer to.
It's incredible. Like they actually have season 47 in the movie, and Keyshawn's name is dropped by one of the actresses in the movie as well about voting out Keyshawn. And I was like, oh my God. So
Yes, but
fascinating.
but
Just fascinating.
someone, an RHAP patron, just posted. I'm sorry, I don't remember who it was. Just posted in the patron Facebook group today, as we're recording this, that although Keyshawn's name was dropped, there was a close up to a calendar that showed it like October of this year.
Oh,
So how
come
are they
on.
watching? And so I responded and said, well, wait, was it in the patron Facebook group or was it on Blue Sky? I don't remember. Whatever.
Hmm.
But I've got my social medias confused now, or
Oh
heck, it could have been
gosh.
Chat BCC. Wherever it was, I apologize if I messed it up. But I responded and said, "Well, clearly she's just rewatching it on Paramount Plus. That must be what's happening."
Binge watching some old seasons. That's
Yeah,
all. It's
yeah,
fine.
sure.
Maybe she's never
So
sing it. Now she's going back and watching it. But
yeah,
I thought it was amazing. And my daughter was like, Mom, could you imagine if they had said your name? And I
yeah.
was like, I mean, that would be neat and all,
It's
but
just
I thought it was quite fascinating.
I
So
was just rewatching Millennials versus Gen X, and this one woman, she got knocked out by a rock.
really incredible thing to be talked about in a movie
Yeah,
like that. I would have
yeah,
loved it. But do they need Keyshawn's permission? Probably not. We sign our life away with this whole
yeah,
thing. So
yeah,
it's probably fun.
yeah. Now I do
But
want to
anyway,
note,
just wanted a little
yeah.
drop.
Well, I do want to note because we may have made fun of it in her season that she did practice fire making this time instead of playing video games.
Not very much though.
Not as much as she should have because she got caught into watching her husband play video games, but
Hmm.
at least more. And it's funny because obviously we're hoping there won't be Final Four fire making this time.
Which some people are still asking for it, some of these players, and they just need to stop it. Like, no, we don't want that anymore. I understand
Yeah.
maybe you need to like redeem yourself, but still, no, no.
Yes. Yes.
Anyway.
All right. Well, we can move on to someone who does not need to redeem himself at all, and that is Kyle.
Mhm.
Now, Kyle is coming into the season saying something we talked a lot about in part one, telling Mike Bloom, I think this whole season is about spinning narratives. So it's funny that he says that. And, he's definitely going to need to do it because he's only,
Mhm.
one of only three winners. Obviously, the only one in the starting tribe. And he was already spinning narratives in his interviews, saying things like, even though I won, I think the people will still underestimate me. I plan to put my ego aside and play a character that people won't see as threatening to their game. If people see me for the threat that I am, then I'm screwed. And he thinks that he'll be able to stroke other people's egos while also hiding in plain sight. Personally, I'm sorry, Kyle. I don't think he'll be able to hide at all. I do think he'll be screwed.
Uh,
Um, I
agree. I very much agree.
at least in
Unfortunately
the
for
long
Kyle.
run. I
Yeah.
hope not. I'm certainly, he's one of the people I'm rooting for, but
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be a heck of an uphill battle for him.
Yes, I feel for Kyle because Kyle was also someone that I didn't think could necessarily pull out a win. I'm just saying that. So I don't know what I'm talking about. So everybody can just like ignore everything I say. But um David likes to listen to me talk, so I guess I'll just keep saying things about the Survivor universe. Kyle is I like gosh, what a like crappy position for Kyle really to be in, right? Because like he did have a phenomenal game. He's one of the like most revered like new era winners, and because there's recency bias as well, right? He's more
Very
recent.
recent.
Right. And so it's like people are thinking about Kyle and they're going to see Kyle and go, "Oh, that guy? Wait, that no." Like sorry Kyle, but no. Because he did such a great job. And then you've got Camilla thrown in here too. So it's just it's a whole lot of not good for Kyle as far as a returnee season is concerned because it's so soon for him. And I don't think that anyone is going to just set that aside, even though Colby was like, "Yeah, I'll take that guy." I still don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to be in a very, very tough spot.
Yeah, and now, he said he thinks he, quote, came across as someone who cared about the people around him, but wasn't afraid to do what I needed to in order to win. I hope people remember the caring parts of me, but forget about my shady parts. Yeah, Kyle,
Mm,
I'm sorry, but I wouldn't count on it. No,
yeah.
we watched the whole season. And I know it's not as recent as these folks, where it's like a week ago for them, but
Hmm.
I, the way he won, nobody came out of watching that, I don't think, saying, that Kyle, he's so caring. They
I
came
would
out of
agree.
it.
Yeah.
They came out of it saying, that Kyle, he's sneaky. That was great
Yes.
gameplay.
Oh my gosh. He can lie. He can hide things. Boy, he's so good at this game. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I think the caring part may be much bigger in Kyle's mind than it is in anyone else's. Now, one
Yeah.
narrative he plans to push is that while he won, there are a lot of others who were finalists or close to it, and they could have won if one thing had gone differently, if they had won fire making, if a juror, we'll talk in a minute about one juror who now says, "Oh, I voted the wrong way," in retrospect, uh,
I know.
things like
That was
that.
crazy.
So yes, and he's not really wrong about that, but there are still winners and non-winners, and you're one of
Mm-hmm.
the winners. It's great to have that idea, and the fact that he's a winner means he has to push this idea. I just don't think the non-winners are going to buy it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to
Uh,
be a tough, tough road for Kyle.
yeah. Now, as far as who he intends to target, if he has the opportunity to, drive the ship, he said he plans to play with predictable people, which I think is code for not Q. Uh, he hopes literally everyone else in his tribe is a friend. But for
Mm-hmm.
Q, I do think Kyle has a good read on him, or at least the same read I do. So I'll call it a good read. Um,
Mm,
he told Mike, "There's just something about Q that makes me think no matter how predictable he tries to play, something's going to turn chaotic. I feel as if things are going to break down in a way that would be detrimental to an ally that's very close to him."
mm,
So he doesn't want to be that ally. He doesn't want to be the Tiffany this season who gets caught up in things and ends up, getting knocked out.
mm-hmm.
And Kyle also wants Rizzo gone. Again, somewhat because of the unpredictability, but also because he knows there must be a reason he's already back. Telling Mike either he's a great social player, great liar, finding idols, whatever it may be. And then he took a line directly from Dr. Jeremy Faust on this very podcast saying, everybody out here is a professional. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
props to Kyle for that.
Maybe he's
Um,
listening. Maybe
uh,
he's been listening.
well, we know he's been listening. So, um,
Well, but I also think it's interesting that he's so hell-bent on Rizzo, and well, there had to have been a reason why Rizzo was asked back,
Mhm.
and all of the things that he's ticking off about Rizzo. It's like that old saying, when you point forward, you have four fingers like pointing back at you, right? It's kind of one of those deals where you're like, well, perhaps Kyle, maybe you should be looking at Rizzo going, well, damn, I should probably try to work with that guy because he's
Yeah,
going to
but
have all of the things that I'm targeted for.
I think he's better off targeting him. I think you do want your finger pointed at him because you want it pointed anywhere but at yourself
Well,
in
for
his position.
sure. Yes, but he also is going to need people to help him get there. And
Right.
if you're looking at how people are talking about the winners and how
Yeah.
particularly they're talking about Kyle, he's going to be in a very, very tough spot. So it's like he needs friends wherever he can get them. And but I just thought it was fascinating that he was so kind of against Rizzo, but he needs to understand that, yeah, people are not going to be forgetting all of those things that he did as well.
Right, right. But I still think enough people fear the unknown, especially since like one of the unknowns in the past, Russell Hantz, you know. Uh
Right.
and and he's the one that sticks in people's mind more than some of the other more recent, previously unknowns who
Mhm.
did back-to-back seasons.
Sure.
So, if you can, make Rizzo out to be the second coming of Russell Hantz, oh yeah, get rid of him. Uh
Mhm.
so and it doesn't hurt that all they know of Rizzo so far is RIZGOD Rizgod, baby.
I know.
So now I do think the best thing that could happen for Kyle is for Camilla to get voted out early and vice versa.
Mm. Mhm.
Um, I don't think Joe sticking around will necessarily hurt him as much because, as Kyle told Mike Bloom, there might be people who think that Joe may feel sore. And now,
Mhm.
so I think that's fine. But yeah, if Camilla were somehow voted out right away on, you know, in her tribe, I think Kyle's stock would rise a little bit.
Oh, that's interesting. Potentially, yes, but still he's a winner. So there's
Right.
that added
Yeah, a
plus.
little bit. I'm not saying it
Mhm.
would hit new heights. I'm saying the stock might rise a
Just a
little bit.
little. Just a
Yeah,
little.
just a little. All right, we can move to Q, the topic of much conversation.
Mm.
He's coming in saying this is his opportunity to fix the things he did wrong last time.
Mhm.
And, he's no dummy. He knows his reputation as being chaotic and unpredictable, but he wants to manage it by lying low and being reliable from the start. Uh, Personally, I don't think he has it in him. But
Mm.
he insisted to Mike that he wants to sit on his hands and support others. And if he can make it past the first 8 or 9 days without his name coming up, he thinks he can continue till day 18 and then take over from there. I think there's approximately a 0% chance of his name not coming up for 9 days. I think there's about a 0% chance of his name not coming up for one day. Uh,
Mhm.
I will be a little surprised if he's still in the game by day 9.
Yeah. Yeah, Q is a very interesting person for many reasons. Bringing him back for season 50 was a choice for sure. I know we talked a little bit about Tiffany and their duo, and
Mm-hmm.
perhaps why they were both brought back was for reasons that are not necessarily legendary status, but more like entertainment value, because perhaps we get some Q
Right.
getting people worked up and maybe yelling a bit, the chaos that everyone is expecting
Yes.
him to bring. If he doesn't bring the chaos, I think everyone's going to be very confused
Yeah.
because they're all anticipating that Q is going to be chaotic. But I also don't feel like he's going to be able to not bring the chaos, because what does he
Mm-hmm.
say about his prior game? The reason why, in his mind, he got voted out was because he he had a quiet day. He had a
Right.
day where he wasn't being chaotic, where he wasn't trying to get involved in things, and was just kind of he was just being centered and by
Mm-hmm.
himself, and other people were running around doing things, and then he ended up getting voted out. And so I feel like he's going to remember that and go, oh, no, I can't be that way because that's what happened to me last time. I wasn't chaotic. I wasn't crazy. And I went home. So if people are expecting it, well, then that's the way it should be. That's what I anticipate happening, is that he's not going to be able to contain that part of himself because of what he also said about his own loss.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he says his overall strategy is to target everyone who's made it to final three because they had the opportunity to argue in front of the jury already. He'll work with some till he doesn't need them anymore, but that's going to be his pitch to others. It sounds good in theory. I don't see it working.
Right.
He can't even use the argument in his starting tribe because 5 of them fit into the category that he wants to target.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I mean, he sees everyone on his starting tribe as a foe except Genevieve. And he'd be willing to work with Kyle for a little while before booting him. But only 2 people on his tribe put him in the friend category.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can't imagine that there's going to be very many people who are going to be looking to work with Q unless it's out of desperation. And so someone like maybe an Angelina who's realizing I don't have very many friends here and I need to acquire a friend wherever I can, perhaps she's then going to see Q and Q will be that person. But I anticipate that not very many individuals are going to be like really vying for Q's help or alliance or friendship in this game.
Yeah, it's like you said, even if he is calm, and it will be something that no one expects. And if you're faced with something you don't expect, you're like, okay, what am I missing here?
Right.
What's different here? Why is Q calm? What is he planning? What are we waiting for? It's like the ticking time bomb.
Yes, exactly.
Like, okay,
like something's going to be happening. It's the calm before the storm. Something is going to explode.
So we don't want the storm. So let's get rid of the ticking time bomb before it goes off.
Exactly. I have to let my dog out.
Now we know the answer to that age-old question. Who let the dog out? Jessica.
Yes, I did. It was me.
Now, the best thing that Q said in his interview was something I already kind of hinted at earlier. If I could watch season 46 and then go back and vote, I would have voted Charlie. Yeah.
Yes.
Again, no shade on Kenzie, but you should have, instead of basing your vote on what the winner would do with the money.
Yeah.
Q has nobody to blame but himself, which is another reason if I were a player there, I wouldn't want him on the jury. He is a complete wild card on the jury.
Yes. Yeah. In addition to the game. In addition to the game and also on the jury. Yeah. Yes. And the last thing you would want and I know they're not hearing this, they won't know this until after, but to know that someone is reconsidering their vote because they realize, oh, Harley was really actually playing the game well. Huh? Isn't that crazy? Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
And I should vote based on who was playing the game well.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Oh, cute.
All right. Well.
And also, wait, time out. I don't want to move away from Q yet because I do think that this is worth mentioning as well.
Jessica.
Yes. Thank you. Didn't he also want to quit at one point on his season?
He said he did. I'm still not sure he really did. But part of it was, and he said he won't be doing that this time. Obviously, besides the quitting, he got so caught up in the games of those around him that when he thought things were going bad for them, he wanted to quit so that they wouldn't lose the game. And he said, I'm not doing that now. This is my game. I'm not playing it for anyone else.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Was it Colton that quit once and then they brought him back and then he was like, I'm going to quit again.
I mean, both times he claimed he didn't quit. He had bad medical stomach problem, and I don't remember the other time. But yes, both times he claimed not to
He
quit.
was not
So
quitting. So
yeah,
I just kind of felt a little ick there for a minute, like, oh wait, we've
yeah,
been here before. So
yeah. But
mm.
he did. Q may have said what he said, but he didn't actually quit.
He didn't
So
actually quit. He didn't. But it's just again, I'm just as far as like production is concerned
mhm.
and kind of talking to the players and why you bring people back.
Well, there was
It was
never
an
any doubt in my mind that Q was coming back.
but these are the types of things that they have to kind
Right.
of think about, like what were they like during the game, and oh, there was this idea that maybe he was going to quit, but then he didn't quit. So we did that once before. Remember that guy called him? It's like,
Well,
did they have that conversation?
I mean, someone said in their interview, and I don't remember who, that they thought it could be Edge of Extinction again. It might have been Aubrey. They thought they could be Edge of Extinction again because there was something in their contract that said if you leave the game before it has completely played out, just because of the situation presented to you, you forfeit all winnings or earnings.
Oh, interesting.
So they thought that, oh, this must mean there's Edge of Extinction, and they don't want you to quit Edge of Extinction either. I think
Hmm.
really what it just means is, no, don't quit or you're getting zip. They're
Right.
really coming down on quitters. It's not, that Jeff was just going to, be mean to them like he said he
Right.
would do
Right.
from now on. It's no, you
Right.
forfeit all your money.
Yeah. Well, all right.
So,
So sorry, I had to bring us down that path,
yeah,
but I just
no, that's
remember that
fine.
as being a thing.
Yeah. All right. So now we can move to RIZGOD Rizgod, baby, the man, the myth, the legend. I know I did that out of order. Sorry, Rizgod.
You haven't
I
practiced as much as he has,
I have not.
clearly.
I have not. I have to do the man, the myth, the rule maker, rules god, baby. That's me. So
Rizgod should have been on a different tribe because what is this one? I have to get my little tweet sheet here. The Kalo tribe, that Kalo means spirit or God. So I'm just saying he
oh,
should have been on that. He should have been on that tribe.
well, for his sake and for others' sake, it's actually best that he's on this tribe,
Mm.
because
Oh,
I think this tribe gives him the best chance of surviving a little longer. But
yes. This is like the hot mess tribe.
yes, um, I I did not get a lot out of Rizzo's interviews about how he plans to actually play, other
Mm,
than presumably the same way he played 12 days earlier, because there's not a whole
sure.
lot of time to change your playing style. Um,
Right.
and he wants to manage everyone's egos by acting like a fan and just a character until he can make a move. He said,
Mm.
I have to be okay not being the main character for a bit, which obviously that's a big change for Rizgod.
Well, but also he can't really be the main character when you look around who is here, right?
Right.
Who's on this
Yeah.
cast. It's
Yeah.
like Riz God, okay, fine, you were Riz God on your last season because you could be. But here you now have people like Suri who are existing. You have Colby on your tribe. Ozzy is here. There's a lot of really big names that people know and people are going to have a particular respect for. All they know about
Actual gods. Yes.
Rizzo is that he called himself Riz God. That's
Right.
what these people know. It's that he actually called himself Riz God. So I would imagine that they're all going to be like,
Mm-hmm.
really? Does he think he's that awesome? Because he called himself Riz God in his introduction to the world. That's all they know of him. How he is going to bring that down, the many notches he's going to need to, will be interesting to watch because I do anticipate that he is going to have to really play up the I am a super fan and I just think you're all really awesome and I have so much respect for you kind of idea because he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have anything else for them to know of him other than the Riz God. That's how he refers
I
to
mean,
himself.
I have a feeling as soon as they finish their first challenge, they get to their camps, like the first thing he's going to say is, look, I know you've all seen the commercial. I know you've all seen the
Mm-hmm.
promo. That is not me.
Mm-hmm.
I was playing it up for the cameras. Uh,
Yes,
he would be at least smart to do that, whether
for
he does it
sure.
or not. I think he's smart enough to do that. Um, now he's hoping to work with or to be friends with Colby, Stephanie, Aubrey, and Genevieve, and work with Kyle for now. But
Mm.
only Aubrey and Genevieve labeled him as a potential friend. So he has a bit of a hill to climb.
He
He,
does.
you
He
know,
does.
he needs to show them that Riz God clip was not the real him, like I said.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I said, right away, I I do think, as I kind of mentioned a minute ago, having Q and Angelina in the tribe with him, I think
Hmm.
that helps.
Yes, and I do think that it gives him time for people to learn who he is more, because he is a very likable person as far
Mm-hmm.
as like his entertainment value, his ability to have, I think he'll be able to really talk to them about who they are because he is a super fan. And so he is going to have a lot of interest in who they are as a person and get people talking about themselves. You start talking to Colby about how he was when he was in Australian Survivor and how incredible he was, and you kind of remind Colby about who he was. I think that there could be an opportunity for him to make them feel better about themselves as Survivor players, because I am such a big fan of yours, that then that will like ingratiate him to them in a way that
Mm-hmm.
like Q's not going to. He was
Right.
not
Yeah.
going to care. He was going to be like, whatever, Colby, who? Like, yeah, that's not going to mean anything to Q, but it will mean a lot to Rizzo.
Yeah. All right. Well, we move on to, I believe, yep, the final person in this tribe, Stephanie, who is now 45. Now,
I love
I
that they're all so older. This is just so nice.
I mean older, but still young.
Yeah, yes, it's still young,
Yeah.
but I very much appreciate this
Yes.
a lot.
Now, I very recently rewatched all of Stephanie's seasons because I did the preseason podcast with Mike Bloom that focused on her. If you
Ah,
remember
okay.
those little half-hour
Mhm.
podcasts that we did, well,
Mhm.
half hour to 45 minutes. But of course, that was also Stephanie in her 20s, before she got married, before she had kids, before she lived like half a life. Uh,
Mm.
Now we're more looking at the Stephanie who played in The Traitors, where she told Mike, I kind of had to play a little bit more of a quieter Stephanie and sit back and just observe and kind of feel people out. I think that's kind of the route I need to take. And indeed, she said she won't be the leader, which definitely isn't going to be an issue on this tribe. There are plenty of leader types here. And
Mhm.
she wants to be likable in a kind of a big sister way. Now, Stephanie has been keeping up with Survivor, which I know in part because she's even commented on some of the videos that I post. Looking back, she realizes that stabbing people in the back on Guatemala got her in trouble, but it's applauded in the new era. However, the main issue was she didn't own it in the jury. So
Mm.
now she plans to manage the jury while making her moves. And if she gets to the end, she told Dalton Ross she'll just properly address them and not feel bad. She's not going to apologize for the moves she had to make to get there. She will just own it.
Mhm. I think Stephanie is probably in a very good position with the tribe structure that was
Mm-hmm.
provided to her, because she does have Colby, she does have Aubrey, and I realize Aubrey is not necessarily old school, but I do feel like Aubrey's probably going to lean more heavily towards old school.
Mm-hmm.
And so Stephanie is going to be in familiar waters in interacting with someone like Colby, trying to maneuver through a new era Survivor, but knowing that they played old school survivors. So I'm intrigued to see how she also fits in, as I indicated with Colby. But I do think that there is going to be a place for her in this particular group. And I do think that she's going to be able to kind of maintain herself for a bit of the game. Towards, I think, she's not going to have any issues hanging on at the beginning, because again, we've already indicated there's a couple of targets on this tribe that I think will be the focal point right away, and it won't be Stephanie.
Yeah. Now, the thing that worries me is she said she's going to stab people in the back, but it's hard to stab people in the back when, as we saw on Snake in the Grass, she's a terrible liar now.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, but she hopes to use it and point to it and say, "Hey, look how honest I'll be with you," because obviously I can't lie. So
Mm.
maybe she thinks she'll be able to be better, or at least a little bit, or maybe not the direct lying that she had to do in Snake in the Grass,
Yeah,
just
much different game. I mean, it's
yeah,
still kind of a similar structure, but I think that also the physical component of this game is something that she can probably focus on
right.
as well. So that will be a distraction, and that will be something that it appears still really able to
Hmm.
handle. So perhaps the line won't be front and center. It will be more of a combination of survival skills in addition to
Yeah.
actually performing in these challenges and also lying on the side.
I'll take one helping of lying on the side,
I mean,
please.
she's got Colby she's got to work with, right?
Right.
Who also is not going to be great at lying. So the two of them together can maybe figure out how they can put
Yes.
together a story, which is why Rizzo might become
Yeah.
so, significant to them. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I mean, like you said, she of course considered Colby and Aubrey as friends. Now,
Hmm.
let's put together all of these bits and pieces that we've gotten so far. I have to believe there was pregame stuff going on among the three of them. She said, because just what we've heard, when each of them mentions the other's name, that's not coincidence. I'm sorry. You can
Mm-hmm.
deny pre-gaming. I think it's expected. I like the way Dalton Ross called some of them out on it. It was pretty funny. But when each of them point to the other two as friends,
Yeah.
that's unlikely to be random. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think that they have something pregame, and it's lucky for them that they're all going to end up on the same tribe. Uh,
Mhm.
she's going to try to work with Angelina, but I think that ship has sailed before it's even been christened.
Oh, yes. I
Especially
completely
with
agree.
her other two actual allies being
Hmm.
anti Angelina and Angelina being anti them. Um,
Hmm.
and she's worried about Q. Sorry, not the other two. She is one of the people who is anti Angelina, and Angelina is
Hmm.
anti her. I somehow got back into the Aubrey mindset, even though we're at the end, not the beginning. Um, and she's worried about Q, but then who isn't worried about Q?
Right. Right. Yeah. I do think that this is, as I said, it's a hot mess tribe. It's just
Yes.
a hot
So
mess.
so let's talk about this tribal prediction. We'll do just this tribe first, and then we'll do the overall. Like we did the tribes last time. Now, someone commented on our YouTube posting of part one, indicating, like you said, this tribe's going to be the hot mess tribe,
Yes.
and
Very much.
uh, and they said something to the effect of, it's going to be so bad they had to make a separate podcast for it. And really, no, no, we did not. I responded, no, we did not. We set this up ahead of time before I even really put together my thoughts on them. It's just you got to make the break somewhere. Um,
Yeah.
this may be the prevailing idea. Like I said, I don't know. I purposely stayed away from other people's opinions so it wouldn't impact my own.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
yeah, let's look at who we have here. Stephanie. She's been on disaster tribe after disaster tribe. She was
Yes.
literally down to a tribe of one.
She was it. The last one. Yes.
Q was on the disaster tribe. Now
Mhm.
they're together. That's like disaster squared. I said in my podcast about Stephanie with Mike Bloom that few weeks ago that it would be kind of hilarious if she's on the disaster tribe again. And I'm not wishing it on her, but come on. Wouldn't that be funny as hell?
Yes, it would be very funny.
Not to her, but for everyone
No.
else, that would be really
For
funny.
entertainment value, it would be very funny.
Yes.
Yes.
Because even I think James or was it Jeff, who I think it was Jeff, was asking her in a tribal council, like, at some point, do you have to ask yourself, am I the problem? You
Right. Is
know,
it me?
is it
Is it
me?
is it me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so yeah. And Q says he's coming in with a new plan of attack. I think he will break down quickly if he's on the disaster tribe again.
Mm.
Though I also think he
Mhm.
may not last long enough to make that happen. I do
Yeah.
think that he will be voted out possibly before he actually breaks down.
Mhm.
Um, Now, I predicted the previous winners in each of the other two tribes would be the first out of their tribes. I find myself not thinking the same thing for Kyle. I don't think he'll succeed in rewriting the narrative like he wants,
Mm.
but I think he has a better chance of it than the other two, even though everyone just saw him win a few days earlier. Part of
Yeah.
it is the Rizzo factor. Part of it is the Q factor. And the other part of it is the Angelina factor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think all of them will be scarier or at least more worrisome to other players for the first vote, at least, than Kyle will. Now, I'm
Yeah.
not saying Kyle's going to win as much as I would enjoy that. I don't think he'll be voted out first either. If I had to pinpoint something, I'd say like third in his tribe, depending on
Mm.
swaps and stuff like
I
that.
can see that. Yes. Because here's what's really going to what it's going to come down to, and this might sound very simple, but it is just going to be a matter of numbers. Nobody wants to go home first. And
Mm-hmm.
so you need to find that common thing that's going to bring
Right.
everyone together. Now, the other tribes, yes, the winning the winner needs to go seems to be a resonating theme that so many people have been pointing to. But in this particular tribe, I do think because you've had so much mm, like angst, concern,
Yes.
unhappiness, issues expressed about Angelina and also Q, that I think the numbers are going to be circulating around those two as a potential
Yep.
first vote out. And it's going to feel really good for someone like Genevieve to be like, oh, good, I have friends. Like I finally, like now I have people that I can play this game with because they're not looking at me. And I do think that you're going to have someone like Colby and Stephanie who are coming together. And that's 2 votes right there. So I really do see the numbers kind of coming together just because no one's going to want to be the first one voted out. So what is that common denominator? What is that thing we can all agree on? And I think the agreement is going to be, well, Angelina, we're really concerned with her how she played the game previously and how she could play this game here. And Q is so chaotic, we don't know what's going to happen. And I think that is where the vote is going to end up really focusing on, is those two as opposed to Kyle.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. It seems like it's going to be Angelina versus Colby, and Angelina is going to lose. Because
Mm-hmm.
we know Colby is going to have Stephanie and Aubrey on his side, plus
Mm-hmm.
potentially Kyle. Those are 3 pretty important challenge competitors, at least 3.
Yeah.
And of course, there could be others that Angelina ticks off right away. I have to tell you, my original thought before I started like really concentrating and putting it down in notes, I thought it would be Q or Rizzo first. But the more I think about it, the more I just think it's going to be Angelina. It's going to
Yeah.
be a battle of first impressions and wink, wink, pre-gaming. Uh,
Yeah.
I think Q may be able to keep it together just long enough to outlast Angelina.
Mm-hmm.
This is not what I'm rooting for. I have nothing against Angelina. I like
Oh, I don't
Angelina.
either. She's
I
she's lovely. Yeah,
yeah,
she is
she
a
was,
very strong
you know,
person and she has a strong
right.
personality. And in this season, there are so many strong personalities and
Mm-hmm.
so many strong people that they are all kind of looking at each other and going, well, how is that personality going to mesh with me? And how am
Mm-hmm.
I going to play with that person, knowing that I too have a strong personality? I mean, Chrissy was talking about Angelina and how she loves Angelina because she reminds her so much of herself, because they're both strong women. And if they were on the same tribe, that would be great for them, but they're not. And so I think, unfortunately for Angelina, no one is looking at her thinking she can be like the yin to their yang. It's more like she might be too much and too scary, because what is she going to bring to my game? Do I need her to help balance my game out? And I don't see her balancing anyone's game out, as
No.
opposed to other people on the tribe that I can look at and go, oh, well, Rizzo might help this person's game in this
Mm-hmm.
aspect, and Kyle might help this person in that aspect. And so but I'm not seeing that at all with Angelina and any of the options that exist here.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Q could easily go second from this tribe,
Mm-hmm.
but I do
Mm-hmm.
think Angelina will go first. So that's the
I
official
agree.
prediction.
That's the
As
prediction.
for, go ahead.
Oh, that's what I was
Oh,
going. That's my prediction as well. I agree. I think it's going to be Angelina.
so as far as who will go furthest, I'm leaning towards one of the 3 in that group of Colby, Stephanie, and Aubrey.
Mm,
Um, so, and we'll, you
yeah.
know,
Well, because what I love so much about I almost want to say Colby's like unassuming at this
Mm-hmm.
point because he's not Colby from Australia, and I don't think he's
Right.
going to be. So I could see him doing well, and also because Aubrey is the same.
Mm-hmm.
She's not the Aubrey that we had in Korong, so she's also unassuming. And there's something to be said about those people that can kind of find that middle
Yep.
and make it work for them longer than the rest. And I do think that they both are in a really great place to be unassuming. Stephanie as well, because what do people remember about Stephanie? It was a long time ago, right? It's
Right.
not someone like Kyle that is very recent. It's not someone like Genevieve, also very recent. So I do think that the three of them, if they come together, yeah, I think, and then if they're able to get to emerge and then find someone like Suri and Ozzy, I mean, I'm not hoping for an old school versus new era, but my God,
Yes, you are. Yes,
I
you
mean,
are.
maybe just a little bit, maybe just a
You literally
smidge.
wore an old school shirt last podcast.
I might have just done that. I just love old school Survivor. I apologize. New era, you're
Is
great too, but my heart is in old school. So
is this what you think of old school?
absolute favorite photo of the two of us. Look at how you're just looking at me with such love and admiration.
I think I'm looking at you like this woman's crazy.
Oh my God, why did I choose her to be on my
What is going
podcast with
on?
me? What is happening?
And the funniest part about this picture is neither of us have any recollection of what was
Oh my,
happening.
I don't know, but I do love that photo so much
Yeah.
because just the way that you were looking at me makes me laugh so much. Like she is, what did I do? What on earth did I get myself into with this one? Oh my gosh, that was so many years ago.
It
That
was.
was the same year that
The
the picture
Suri
you showed
picture?
with
Yeah.
Suri. Yes. That was the same time.
Yeah.
Very early on. Very early. Look at us.
Yes. Yes. Look at us now. All right. Well, it is time for, therefore, our overall predictions. We talked about who we think will be first out of each tribe.
Mhm.
Now it's time to talk about who will be first out, just overall. And you know what? I'm going to go the easy route. Since I think Vatu may be the disaster tribe, as we just discussed.
Hot mess.
Yeah, I'm going to refer to what I was just talking about. I think Angelina will be the first out overall. Again, this is not something, I'm not rooting for it. This is just
Mm-hmm.
my look at what I think will happen. And you know what? I think she'll find a way to make her exit memorable anyway.
I tend to agree. Looking at the breakdown of the three tribes, I do think that Vatu is going to find themselves going to tribal council first. And I also agree that we will see Miss Angelina going out first. I do agree.
The question is, will she leave her jacket for someone else? Or is she going to be Natalie and say, "Nuh-uh, I am taking that"?
What I hope is that someone asks for her jacket.
Oh, God.
That's what I hope. They have to.
At least one person has to.
Yes,
There's got to be
someone.
multiple people who are going to ask.
There has to be. There's someone. If someone will be like, "Excuse me, Angelina, can I just have your jacket?"
They have
I want that moment. I want. That
I will
moment.
be so disappointed if they don't.
I know. Me too. Me too. Someone will do it. So, okay. What's
All
next?
Right. So, now it's time for the hardest pick, the person who will win. As we were doing each tribe, I did not narrow it down to a single person. I kind of put that off and I narrowed it down to a few people on each tribe.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a lot of cutting to do. And I have to follow rule 4 and put my emotions aside because there are people I really want to do well. There are many people I want to do well. I don't know that I could pick who I want to win, Suri. But, if I did, Suri, then I don't know. It would be very difficult, Suri. But, so I wouldn't want to pick one particular name.
Suri.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What?
But
is there an echo?
Yeah, I don't know what you're saying. So yeah, I'm putting it aside. I said in part 1 that for Sela, I think Suri, Ozzy, Joe, and Christian will get far.
Mm-hmm.
But I cannot imagine them letting Suri get to the end.
I know. I can't either.
So, and we already know Joe can't win. Even if they do let him get to the if he gets to the end, it will be for the same reason that Kyle let him get to the end the first time. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so that narrows it further to Ozzy and Christian in those two, in that tribe. For
Mm.
the Kalo tribe, I said Jonathan, Coach, Mike, Tiffany, and Camilla would make it at least to the merge. I really didn't narrow it down much looking back. But then again, you know, I don't expect that tribe to go to tribal council very often. So,
Mm.
of course, we know they're going to be swaps. So it's hard to, say too much. I think Jonathan will be both literally and metaphorically too big a target to get to the end. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Mike also more metaphorically. Um, I really want to say Camilla, but with so many people being worried about her, I
Mm.
think being secretly good last time, like
Mm-hmm.
I said, 10 days ago, will come back to bite her. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at Coach and Tiffany making it far.
Oh, see, I disagree with. I was with you on Sela.
Okay.
I disagree with Kalo, because I do think that yes, I agree. Jonathan is going to be he'll make it far at the beginning, but they'll want to get
Hmm.
rid of him quickly come merge time because they'll be worried about challenges. Mike White, I think everyone has got that White Lotus thing in the back of their mind, and they're very concerned about someone just trying to audition for that show, and so they're going to be a little concerned about Mike White. Plus, he's a storyteller, and he did great in his final
Hmm.
tribal, and if he gets anywhere near one of those three chairs again, he's going to have a really great ability to
Yes.
sell himself. So I'm sure that he's a concern. I do think that Tiffany is someone that will be under the radar because people are really like kind of like Tiffany who. So they're not going to be worried about her. I feel like Coach is also going to do well just because he's Coach and he's going to try to find that zen spot
Hmm.
with everyone. And I do think that he will probably get far. But I am also, yeah, and I've talked about Charlie, and I have some concerns with Charlie just being seen as a threat
Oh
overall.
yeah.
Because again, if he makes it to the final three, we've got our winner there. So I don't think she's going to be making it very far as this tribe is concerned. D, I think, is in trouble. Camilla, I think she's just very scary. She's a concern because they all saw what she was capable of. But then there's like Chrissy. Chrissy is another one of those, like, yes, Chrissy made it to the end.
Hmm.
Chrissy, I think she's in a really good sweet spot, regardless of the fact that she made it to the end, just because there are a whole lot of like big characters around her. But I think there are also things about her that will connect her to like Coach and I could see getting
Hmm.
together. I know that even Rizzo was like, I want to work with her, even though Chrissy was like, I'm over the Ryan, thank you, because they had that same type of thought process there. But I do think that there is something about Chrissy that she will be in a different place in this game than she was last time because there are older people that she can connect with, and so I think Chrissy's also going to make it far as well.
Okay. All right. So for Vatu, we just discussed this. I mentioned Colby, Stephanie, and Aubrey.
Hmm.
If Ozzy, Coach, or Colby were to win, it would be an amazing turnaround, especially after all the negative things I've said about their games. But it would show, presumably, that look, it would be vindicating because they changed their games
Yes.
and won.
Hmm.
The real question for them is if their actions can follow their words. And we will see if it can. I feel like Aubrey, Stephanie, and Tiffany have a better chance. And I know I mentioned Tiffany already, but Aubrey and Stephanie in particular in this tribe have a better balance of perceived threat level and ability.
Mm-hmm.
But I add in Tiffany from the previous one. And so those are kind of the three I am looking for. And if you had told me I was going to, say Stephanie in that group also, I would have been surprised before going through some of this. And I'm going to go a little crazy. I'm going to say, and this is a picture that I meant to put up earlier but forgot. I am going to say
I'm
Aubrey is
thinking
my winner
Aubrey.
prediction.
Well,
I think she
I
will. I think she will not only overcome the Q factor. I think it will be one hell of a story arc. She will finally get
mhm.
the win that eluded her in her first season. And, mind you, if you had asked me this tomorrow, if you had asked me this yesterday, hell, if you had asked me this 2 hours ago, I might have had a different answer. I, I, I told you this before we started. As I began writing that sentence in my notes, I did not know how it was going to end.
Well,
But
there's our ending.
this is our ending. This is going on the record. And I'm not just saying this because she heavily complimented me when we met in Los Angeles. I forgot to mention that earlier, too. When we took this picture, she introduced me to someone and she was like, oh, he's so good and he's so, strategic minded and da 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 da. And it was like, wow, okay, I got to take a video of this. But I mean, let's face it, it doesn't hurt. Is it playing in the back of my mind somewhere?
Of course
Maybe.
it is. Of
You know,
course it is.
but that is not. I promise that's not the reason I am picking her to win.
Well, I think that is a great choice. And I think it's a great choice because maybe I'm reading a little too much into things. And this, I will say, I chose my winner pick before I noticed this. So I will say that as well. But if you happen to have seen, and I'm sure everyone has, if you're listening to this, you've watched the promo or the for the big commercial for season 50 that came out, and right towards the end of the commercial, there's the island that they had everyone kind of running around on when they did their individual videos, and it had the big Survivor 50 flag that was on that particular island. And it just so happens that there's like a silhouette of a person standing on that space or in that space next to the flag. And gosh, it doesn't look like a woman standing there. And I was like, well, that's
Mm.
interesting because I feel like that's a little telling. Now, I noticed that after I had chosen my winner pick. So don't think for a second I didn't go back and try to see if perhaps that like silhouette matched the person I picked. Don't think it does. However, my winner pick is also someone who I do believe is, and I know this word, as Rizzo said, gets tossed around a lot, a robbed goddess. But I will say that Chrissy, I wholeheartedly believe should have won her season. There she is. There's my winner pick girl. She and I had a great time sitting next to each other at Hearts of Reality, meeting fans and getting to chat and getting to know each other. Not just choosing her because I met her either. But I really do think that she's like kind of like the whole package, right? She has so many things that make her great at this game, in addition to what we saw before, her challenge wins. But the thing that seemed to be missing for her in the last season was really that social component. And now I feel like she's going to be able to shine in that regard because she's going to be with older individuals on the cast. She's going to have an opportunity to, I think, make connections with people. And I also feel like some of the younger individuals might want to be connecting with her as well, as we heard Rizzo talking about that. So I just feel like she should have won. And I'm not saying anything about Ben's win. Ben's win was great, but there was a lot of things there, including the introduction of fire, right? Which
The
everyone knows
introduction of fire with no warning.
yes. And so, but for that little twist, we would have had a Chrissy win way
Well,
back then.
and idols saving him up until fire making,
Yes,
which also
100%.
mm,
100%. So I have, I've got a bit of a feeling there about what caused her to not win. And one thing that kind of keeps replaying in my brain when it comes to Chrissy, and again, these are just things I'm listening to my gut. She
mhm.
has on her Instagram that it's something about second place will not be my destiny or something along those lines.
Mhm.
And I've always kind of thought for her, like, it would be really great if she was able to come back here and then pull off a win. I'm looking at the people she's playing with. I think she's got a really great shot to do it. And that's what my gut has been telling me. When I saw this cast, I kept going back to Chrissy. Now, we all know I'm terrible at predictions. And I'm sorry, Chrissy, for putting you in a particular way. I don't want that to happen. It's not going to happen this time. I feel it. It's not going to happen. The butterfly effect. It's season 50. It's a whole new world.
You squashed the butterfly.
I did. So that's my winner pick. It's Chrissy.
Okay. All right. Well, it will certainly be interesting to see. I know one of us is right. It's obvious. One of us is obviously right. So it'll be interesting to see which of us. And there are so many others that we would be happy to see.
Yes.
So again, if you're watching this, you're one of the players, and we did not pick you. It is not a slight against you. It is
not at all. We can't pick everyone.
Well, a couple people it's a slight against, but we won't mention them. But now they're like, hey, wait, who's he talking about? So, all right. Well, before we move on here, I want to remind everyone that the rules we will be discussing every single week are available in poster form. And you can go to robhasawebsite.com/yxlostfeed, scroll down, click on the link, and order away. You can then keep scrolling and get the rules on a t-shirt, much like the one I'm wearing. Or you can get the checklist on a t-shirt, much like the one Jessica is wearing. Look at that. We are perfect ad placements for ourselves.
We're in sync, as always. I mean, come
on. So again, go to robhasawebsite.com/yxlostfeed for that.
And if you would like to find us on social media, yes, I can talk about that now. I am at Jessica Lewis 89 on both Blue Sky and Twitter. I will probably be posting much more than I have been as of late because Survivor is starting again. I am also at Jessica Lewis 6789 on Instagram. And as I've mentioned before, I just steal a lot of content from David Bloomberg because David Bloomberg is a social media guru, so much so that he has a link tree that includes all of the places that you can find him and all of the content that he does create, which is kind of insane, David. I mean, really. You are making so many videos on so many platforms and so many things. So tell everyone where they can find you.
Well, that link tree is at linktree/David Bloomberg. You can find me directly on Blue Sky as at David Bloomberg. And you can find me on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram as at David Bloomberg TV. I've been posting 2 or 3 reality TV short videos each day. Right now, a lot of them on the traders for obvious reasons. Some looking ahead to Survivor, some covering shows like Extracted and Beast Games. This will obviously, the balance of things will obviously change. Very soon, I'd say, in, like a little more than a week.
Charlotte, I'm so sorry.
I have even been doing mini Why Blank Lost videos for every player knocked out of the traders. So you can look for all of those. And of course, in about a week, that will include a mini Why Blank Won video. In addition, I have been co-hosting the Tradar podcast for the Traders US, and you can find that wherever you get podcasts or in video form on YouTube. You could just search for TRAIDAR, the Tradar podcast. And of course, next week, we will be right back here, starting, in about, as we're recording this, a week and 2 days. So by the time you see it, closer to a week, I would say, we will be seeing or talking about the various players who lose, starting with the presumably 2 in week 1.
I know. So it's 3 hours for the first episode.
Yes.
It's so much.
Yes, it is. Now, as we wrap up, I want to encourage people to check out the RHAP patron program at robhasawebsite.com/patron. You get access to all the special podcasts that are put out just for patrons, plus Facebook groups and Discord and early access to tickets for live shows and discounts for live shows. And most importantly, you can support shows like ours and everything on the network by becoming a patron at robhasawebsite.com/patron. And of course, make sure you subscribe to all the RHAP Survivor podcasts by going to WeKnowSurvivor.com.
Yes, you definitely should do so. RHAP does so many incredible things, including these events, but all of the content that is created is just overwhelming and incredible and amazing. So we would like to thank everyone at RHAP. Thank you to Scott St. Pierre for the editing that he does lead the charge on, not only for Why Blank Lost, but all of that delicious content that you did hear David Bloomberg and I talking about. And thank you to Will from America for the theme song that was created for the audio version of this podcast. And David, thank you so much for another incredible session, if you will, of us discussing these players. And it'll be fascinating to see what happens coming up, like on Wednesday.
Yeah.
In a week.
Hopefully, our two winner picks won't be knocked out in the first. We could just go back.
I think
I
we're
thought I
good.
could put them. I thought I could put them together, but instead, I'm just going to have to go back and forth between them.
I do love that we were able to show us with our winner
Yes.
picks, and then when it actually happens, there it is.
Then we'll look like this.
I definitely will, because
Yes.
it's been a long time since I picked a winner pick. JT was my last winner pick. That was a long time ago.
That's a long time ago. I my last one, I believe, was Jam Jam.
Oh, so. Yeah, I know. And you picked Nick before that. I know. I'm fully aware that you're much better at this than I am. Yeah, everyone knows this. Yes. It's fine.
Well, thank you very much for joining me once again. And so, yes, we will see everyone in a little more than a week. And until then, you can catch us on social media. Bye.
Bye.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.